I'm Josie Voice, and it's time for a classic Disney storybook read-along of Pinocchio. Thank you to Jonas for requesting this book. I hope you enjoy it, and if you guys would like me to read your favourite book, send me a message in the comments down below. Now, buy this book so you can read along with me, and if you like my video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like it. Here we go. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village, a beautiful wishing star shone brightly in the evening. A clever little cricket named Jiminy wandered along the village streets. He saw a lighted window and decided to go inside. Jiminy Cricket looked around, amazed. He had stumbled on a woodcarver's shop full of fantastic clocks, cute music boxes, and shelves of toys. The shop belonged to kindly old Geppetto. Geppetto was carefully painting eyebrows and a mouth onto a puppet that looked just like a little boy. Figaro, Geppetto's cat, and Cleo, his goldfish, watched as he worked. "I have just the name for you," Geppetto said. When he had finished, "Pinocchio!" Geppetto put little Pinocchio away for the night. As he climbed into bed, Geppetto looked out the window and saw something glittering in the sky. "It's a wishing star!" he cried. Geppetto closed his eyes and made a wish. As Geppetto slept, he dreamed about his wish. He had wished that Pinocchio would become a real boy. Suddenly, a bright light filled Geppetto's room. The light sparkled and grew into the beautiful blue fairy. "Good Geppetto," the fairy said, "you deserve to have your wish come true." She waved her magic wand over Pinocchio, saying, "Little puppet made of pine, wake, the gift is thine." Suddenly, Pinocchio lifted his arms and spoke. "Am I a real boy?" he asked. "No," the fairy explained. "First, you must prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish. You must learn to choose between right and wrong." The blue fairy told Pinocchio that he must let his conscience be his guide. And, with a little coaxing from the blue fairy, Jiminy Cricket agreed to be his conscience. Then she was gone. Geppetto, hearing strange noises, jumped out of bed. When he got to his workshop, he saw his little puppet dancing around and singing. Geppetto lifted Pinocchio into the air and hugged him close. Geppetto finally had a son of his own, and he had never been happier. The next morning, Geppetto walked Pinocchio outside and pointed to all the children passing by. "They are going to school," he explained. "Now that you are a little boy, you must go to school too." Hoping to make Geppetto proud, Pinocchio hurried off. He didn't realize that two sneaky-looking characters were watching him. "A live puppet with no strings?" the fox exclaimed. "We can sell him to Stromboli, the puppeteer." The fox tripped Pinocchio with his cane. "I am J. Worthington, foul fellow, but my friends call me Honest John," he explained. "And this is Gideon," he added, pointing to the cat standing by his side. Pinocchio looked up at Honest John. "I have to get to school," he explained. Honest John convinced Pinocchio that school was a waste of time. "Come with us," he coaxed. "We'll make you a star." Back at Geppetto's workshop, Jiminy Cricket hurried into his coat and hat and ran out the door. He saw Honest John, Gideon and Pinocchio heading down the street in the wrong direction. Soon, Jiminy Cricket caught up with Pinocchio and tried to change his mind. But it was too late. Honest John had convinced Pinocchio to go on stage. They were going to see Stromboli the puppeteer. Honest John led Pinocchio right into Stromboli's greedy hands. The puppeteer was delighted to have such a rare find in his show. That night, Pinocchio made his stage debut, with Jiminy Cricket watching from the audience. Everyone was amazed to see a singing, dancing puppet with no strings. When the show was over, the crowd applauded wildly, and they threw gold coins at Pinocchio's feet. Pinocchio loved all the attention, and Stromboli loved all the money the little puppet had made for him. Later that night, Pinocchio couldn't wait to get home and tell Geppetto about his new career. But when Stromboli heard Pinocchio talking about going home, he threw him in a cage and locked the door. As Pinocchio cried and called out for Jiminy, the cricket sneaked into Stromboli's wagon. He wanted to wish Pinocchio luck with his new career. Jiminy couldn't believe his eyes when he saw Pinocchio locked in a cage. He tried to help his friend escape, but the lock was stuck. "It'll take a miracle to get us out of here," Jiminy said. Meanwhile, poor Geppetto was very worried about his little son. He went out to search for Pinocchio in the pouring rain. Back at Stromboli's wagon, as Jiminy was trying to free Pinocchio, the Blue Fairy appeared. When she asked Pinocchio why he hadn't gone to school, Pinocchio told so many lies that his nose grew. Pinocchio promised that he would never lie again, and the Blue Fairy agreed to give him another chance. Then she disappeared once more. Jiminy and Pinocchio jumped out of Stromboli's wagon and ran home as fast as they could. In a nearby tavern, Honest John and Gideon were meeting with the coachman, who liked to lure boys to Pleasure Island. The coachman promised Honest John and Gideon money if they would help him find some boys. Soon, Honest John and Gideon were back on the streets, where they spotted Pinocchio. Pretending that Pinocchio looked sickly, Honest John convinced the little puppet that he needed some rest and relaxation on Pleasure Island. Honest John and Gideon led Pinocchio down the street. They told him all about the wonders of Pleasure Island. Games, toys, candy, rides, and it was all free. Poor Jiminy tried to catch up with them. Outside the village, Honest John turned Pinocchio over to the coachman. Pinocchio climbed aboard a stagecoach filled with boys. The coachman cracked his whip and off they went to Pleasure Island. When the boys arrived on Pleasure Island, they could hardly believe their eyes. There were no grown-ups around to tell them what to do. The boys could be as naughty as they liked. While Pinocchio was busy having fun, Jiminy Cricket explored the island. He came upon the coachman giving orders to his men. "Shut the doors and lock them tight," the coachman bellowed. Jiminy knew he had to find Pinocchio right away. Jiminy saw a light in the pool hall, where he found Pinocchio playing pool with a boy called Lampwick. "You're coming right home with me," Jiminy cried. Lampwick laughed. "You're taking orders from a grasshopper?" Poor Pinocchio was caught between his new friend and his conscience. On his way out, Jiminy saw the coachman and his men putting donkeys in crates. "You boys will bring me a nice prize," the coachman said, smiling. Jiminy realized that the donkeys were the boys of Pleasure Island. Jiminy ran back to warn Pinocchio, but it was too late. Pinocchio stared in horror as he sprouted his own set of donkey ears and a tail. "Quick, we've got to get out of here," yelled Jiminy. Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket raced across the now deserted island, leaving the coachman and the donkeys behind. They climbed up the rocks and then jumped into the ocean. The pair finally reached the shore and headed for home, but when they arrived, Geppetto was nowhere to be found. A dove flying overhead dropped a letter for Pinocchio. The letter said that Geppetto had gone looking for Pinocchio and had been swallowed by a whale named Monstro. Pinocchio and Jiminy headed back to the shore. At the bottom of the ocean, they began to search for Monstro. Pinocchio and Jiminy asked every fish and sea creature where to find Monstro, but no one would help them. Then Pinocchio spotted Monstro just as the whale was waking up. Meanwhile, deep inside Monstro's belly, Geppetto was hoping for a miracle. "There isn't a fish left," he explained to poor starving Figaro. "If the monster doesn't wake up soon, I'm afraid we're done for." Suddenly, Monstro started to swim. He was ready for lunch. He opened his gigantic jaws and sucked in an entire school of fish, and Pinocchio along with them. Pinocchio and the fish swam down the whale's throat and into his giant belly. When he got there, Pinocchio found himself in the arms of a very happy Geppetto. "There's no way out of here," Geppetto said sadly. "I've tried everything." Then Pinocchio had an idea. He began chopping up furniture. "We'll start a fire and make lots of smoke," Pinocchio said. "Then Monstro will wake up and sneeze us out." Monstro soon felt the fire burning in his belly. Inside, everyone quickly jumped onto a raft that Geppetto had built and paddled towards the whale's throat. When Monstro let out an enormous sneeze, he blew the raft out to sea. Monstro was furious. Seeing the raft bobbing up ahead, he smashed it to pieces. Pinocchio, holding on to Geppetto, swam with all his might. He led Monstro into a collision with the rocks. Pinocchio had helped Geppetto reach the shore safely. But when Geppetto looked around for his little son, he found him lying face down in the water. Geppetto sadly picked up Pinocchio and carried him home. Once inside, Geppetto laid Pinocchio on his bed. Suddenly, the blue fairy appeared. She waved her wand over Pinocchio, saying, "You have proven yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish. Now you will become a real boy." The lifeless wooden boy was suddenly transformed into a real little boy. Geppetto wound his music boxes and they all began to dance. What a celebration they had! The woodcarver, his son, the cat, the goldfish, and a wise cricket named Jiminy. Well, that story of Pinocchio was pretty cool. Thanks for reading with me, everyone. Don't forget to send me your video requests in the comment section below. I'm Josie Wose. I'll see you soon. Bye!